Hi, I'm Emma, and for a long time I thought my life was perfect. My husband Brian and I had been married for 3 years, and everything seemed to be going well. We lived in a small but nice apartment in a safe neighborhood. I worked as a graphic designer at a marketing firm, and Brian was a sales manager at a tech company. Our plan was simple: save money, buy a house, and then start a family. We shared one car to save money and stuck to our budget. Every morning, Brian would drop me off at work before heading to his office. In the evening, I'd either catch a ride with a coworker or take the bus home. It wasn't always easy, but we were determined to stick to our plan. Then, one day, everything changed. It started when Brian's younger sister, Lisa, arrived unexpectedly. Lisa was a single mom with 2 kids, Emma and Jake. Her husband had died in a car accident the year before, and Brian's parents suggested she stay with us to get back on her feet. Brian was excited and said, "Family is everything, Emma. Isn't it great we can help Lisa during this tough time?" I forced a smile and said yes, hoping it would just be for a short time. At first, everything was fine. Lisa and her kids were polite, and Brian seemed happy to have them around. But as days turned into weeks, things started to get out of hand. Brian became focused on Lisa and her kids. He spent his evenings playing with them, helping Lisa with errands, and asking me to do more for her. "Emma, Lisa's tired. Can you do the kids' laundry?" he'd say. Or, "Emma, why don't you take Lisa shopping? She needs a break." I was already tired from work and commuting, and now I had to take care of Lisa and her children too. When I told Brian I was feeling overwhelmed, he said, "Lisa's been through so much. She needs our help. Can't you be more understanding?" I tried to stay patient, but it got worse. Lisa didn't seem to have any plans to leave. One evening, Brian told me she was thinking about finding a job in the city and staying with us long term. I was shocked. "Where would she live?" I asked. "Here, of course," Brian replied, like it was obvious. The situation escalated when Brian suggested I quit my job to take care of Lisa's kids full time. "You can focus on the house and the kids while Lisa works," he said. I couldn't believe it. "Brian, I'm not quitting my job to babysit. That's not fair." "What's not fair is expecting Lisa to do it all on her own," he argued. I felt like my opinions didn't matter. Everything was about Lisa and her needs, while mine were ignored. Lisa made herself at home, redecorating the guest room and taking over the apartment. The house became chaotic. Her kids scribbled on the walls, scattered toys everywhere, and even ruined my plants. One day I came home to find soil all over the floor and my favorite plants knocked over. Lisa was on the couch watching TV. "Lisa, the kids are making a mess of the house," I said, trying to stay calm. She barely looked up. "They're just kids, Emma. Relax." I held back my frustration and talked to Brian that night. But as usual, he defended Lisa. "She's been through so much," he said. "Why can't you cut her some slack?" I had been cutting her slack for weeks. Lisa wasn't helping at all. Instead of looking for a job, she spent her days shopping or meeting friends for coffee. Meanwhile, I was stuck doing all the work. The final straw came on Lisa's birthday. Brian planned a fancy dinner at a restaurant we could never afford. It was the kind of place we dreamed of going for anniversaries but always skipped to save money. That night, surrounded by Brian's family, I felt out of place. After dinner, Brian made a toast. "To Lisa," he said, "you're amazing. You've been through so much, and I'm so proud of you." Lisa smiled as Brian handed her a small box. My heart raced. Was this a surprise for me? But when she opened it, it was car keys. "Happy birthday, Lisa," Brian said. "I bought you a car to make things easier for you." Everyone clapped, but I was in shock. A car? We couldn't even afford a second car for ourselves. Later that night, I confronted Brian. "Where did you get the money for the car?" I asked. "From our savings," he admitted. "But don't worry, I'll replace it with my bonus." I was furious. "That was our house fund. You spent it without even asking me?" We argued and Brian accused me of being selfish. Lisa joined in, calling me controlling. I felt completely alone. That night, I packed a bag and left. I stayed at a small hotel to clear my head. The next day, I decided to take control of my life. I called my boss and asked to come back to work full time. I also contacted a lawyer to discuss my options. Over the next few weeks, I moved into a small apartment and started over. Without me, Brian's life started falling apart. The house was a mess. Lisa's car became a financial burden, and he couldn't keep up with the bills. One evening, he showed up at my door. He looked tired and defeated. "Emma, I messed up," he said. "I'm sorry. Can we start over?" I thought about everything we'd been through. I had loved him once, but I couldn't forget the way he had treated me. "Brian, I've moved on," I said, taking a deep breath. "I hope you can too." As I closed the door, I felt a sense of peace. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and that was enough. Over the next few weeks, I focused on myself for the first time in years. My work was fulfilling, and I reconnected with friends I had drifted away from. I started a small herb garden on my apartment balcony, something I had always wanted to do, but never had the time or energy for. One day, I received a message from Brian. He wanted to meet and talk, but I hesitated. I wasn't sure if I was ready to face him again. After some thought, I agreed, but only to have closure. We met at a small cafe near my apartment. Brian looked different, older, worn out, and regretful. "Emma, I just want to say I'm sorry," he began. "I should have listened to you. I let Lisa and everything else get in the way of us." I nodded, but I didn't say much. His apology felt genuine, but it didn't change the past. We talked for a while, and he shared how difficult things had been for him. Lisa had moved out, leaving behind unpaid bills and a mountain of debt. Brian was struggling, but he admitted he needed to take responsibility for his actions. "I hope you can forgive me," he said, his voice breaking. "I miss you, Emma." I looked at him, feeling a mix of emotions. A part of me wanted to forgive him, but another part knew that going back would mean losing the independence I had worked so hard to regain. "Brian, I forgive you," I said finally. "But I can't go back. I found peace in my new life, and I'm not willing to give that up." He looked heartbroken, but nodded. "I understand. I just want you to be happy." As I walked away from the cafe, I felt a sense of closure. I had forgiven Brian, but more importantly, I had chosen myself. My journey wasn't easy, but it taught me the value of self-respect and the importance of standing up for my own happiness.